I'm always challenged about where God is taking us and what God is saying. I've always been trying to position myself to have that ear, to hear that still small voice, that he wants to talk to all of us. Sometimes we have so much clutter going on in our lives, and he's been speaking to us all along. We just have not fine-tuned it to hear his voice. And just looking at where we are as a nation, we're in trouble. Looking at us as a country, we're in trouble. Looking at us in our relationship and how other countries perceive us, we're in trouble. The devil is holding unity and the spirit of reconciliation hostage. How many of you know that even in your own homes, sitting around the dinner table, hanging around at the coffee shop, Starbucks or Pete's Coffee or wherever you are, how many of you know you don't talk about politics? That's the biggest way to get a fight going, is talking about politics. We're all over the place. And it's the trick of the enemy to divide and conquer. And one of the things as Christians, God holds us to a higher standard. God has called each and every one of us to a higher standard of people of faith. We are commanded to love God with all of our hearts, mind, body, and soul. And this is the first and it's the greatest commandment. The second, the most important, similar to the first, is to love your neighbor as much as you love yourself. How many of you love yourself? Don't be ashamed. Every time I look in that mirror, I'm loving Samuel. Tall, dark, handsome, and bald. One good-looking dude. I love me. I'm not ashamed of it. And God is saying, just like you love you, I need you to love that person that don't look like you, doesn't sound like you, doesn't hang out where you hang out, doesn't like to do the things you like to do. I need you to love them as much as you love yourself. And how many of you know sometimes that's a struggle? Sometimes we're saying, God, you're going to have to help me with this. God, you don't know my neighbor. All that loud noise and throwing garbage over my fence. Sometimes I say, Lord, you don't know my neighbor. I got a neighbor that's got chickens and a rooster. And at 4 o'clock in the morning, that fella is waking me up when I don't even want to be up. And God said, but I need you to love that man with that rooster that's getting on your last nerve. I'm saying, I'm going to get me a slingshot. Because if I catch him, I just need to see him. I've never seen him, but I hear him all the time. God said, I need you to love those. I need you to love those that have a different politics than you. I need you to love those that don't see it the way you see it. I need you to embrace tolerance. Tolerance, what is that? It's not about giving in or relinquishing what I believe to embrace someone that believes different than me. Tolerance is, I know how I feel and I know how I think and I know how you think. Now, how do I walk alongside you? How do I love you? How do I build bridges? I have to make a choice to do that. We are his example. That bright light, Jesus said. Your strong love for each other will prove to the world that you are my disciples. The world is looking at us. The world is looking at you. I guarantee you, everyone that lives in this community and drives by this church, I guarantee you they're asking themselves, I wonder what's going on in that building. I see stuff going on. Why is that parking lot so full of cars all the time? What is going on? The world is looking at you. And what the world is wondering, when will we extend an invitation to them and say, come on in. I need you to be my guest. Some of us go to the same Starbucks all the time, 2 or 3 times a day. That's the world looking at you. Sometimes when you walk in, they know your name. They start your drink before you get to the counter. Everybody else knows you go there all the time. But the world is saying, when you're going to invite them? When will you choose to invite them to be a part of what you do, to be a part of this service, to be a part of hearing God for themselves? That's what he's called us to do.